So for the second morning in a row, I've managed to turn off the auto rotate on my phone and start recording the wrong way round. I think I must have little gremlins creeping into my bedroom at night. So apologies for being 5 minutes late coming on and for then going around the wrong way. But welcome, welcome in on this Tuesday morning. My name is Helen Jennings. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator based here in the UK, and we're going to do a bit of playing this morning, and it really is playing. I was sort of doing some mathematical calculations just before I came on and then went, oh, I shouldn't be here, I should be live. Let's stop all this mathematical calculation. So who knows where this will take us. Hopefully I've got the right, I've done the right want, but who knows indeed. I think I'm going to cut a piece of Whisper White card so that it measures 11 centimetres square. Let's get the right one. Oh, that feels quite thick as well, but this one, 11 centimetres square. And then we'll see where that takes us from there. Right, do come on and say hello wherever you are. We really are suffering with the pollen count being high this morning. Really quite coffee and a bit croaky, so apologies. Not anything very much I can do about it. We won't wish the bad weather on other people just because it doesn't suit me. Right, let's put this card in our Stamparatus. We're going to use our Stamparatus this morning to start with, and I'm going to mark. Take that bit of washi tape out and mark this corner, because if all goes well with the theory, if it doesn't, we're just going to throw it out the window and go and do something else. But if all goes well with the theory, we're going to be turning this piece of cardstock round. So I want to know where I started. And the stamp set that I've got out in front of me is this Country Home one. Now this is one that is carrying over. I think it came out, it's been around a little while. I think it came out with the autumn and winter catalogue, not last year, the year before. I think it carried over into the annual catalogue last year and is still carrying on. A lovely stamp set. You've obviously got these floral arrangements that you can have in the urn and in the jug, or you can have them standalone. You can use the urn and the jug standalone. You can use those with other things. Lots of potential there with all those stamps and dies, and there's lots of sort of harvesty, Thanksgiving grateful type sentiments on there, but you can use them for other things. You are the happy to my day. Why wouldn't you want to use that? Now, in this set, we've got like this little tile stamp. It almost looks like a window with, like you used to draw windows with curtains when you were little. It's that sort of a shape. I haven't got my greetings on. Oh, Lisa, hope everything goes all right at the hospital appointment. Morning, Emma, Div, Beryl, Caroline. And Emma, eyes are streaming. I know, it's quite high, I think, today, isn't it? I just tend to get a little bit chesty and wheezy, which is a little bit concerning at the moment, isn't it? Right, I want to line this little square up so it's about 1/2 centimetre in top and bottom. So I've got my ruler out there. It's not, you know, it doesn't have to be absolutely spot on, but I'm thinking I want it about 1/2 centimetre in each way. That's my theory. This is all theory at the moment. Let us see what happens. I'm going to pick that stamp up. Okay, and I'm going to pick up some Pretty Peacock. Let me just move my water out of the way. Let's turn this round and let's put our case underneath there so that we've got a nice flat surface now to ink up our stamp, and we're going to stamp it just there. Then we're going to move it along a notch. Oh, that was very inky. Stamp it again. Oh, so they don't rest up against each other. There is a gap in between. And oh, once more with feeling, and hopefully that's then left us about half a centimetre each way the other end. Let me just get my Simply Chamois, which is sitting here in a thing of water, throw the water out the back door, and let's get the worst of that ink off my fingers before continuing. Right, now this is where we're going to need deep breath, thumb roll. Is it going to work? Because what I want to do now is I want to move that. I want to move this round like this. Will it or won't it? Now I'm hoping that that would line up about there. So if we take it a long one, everybody hold your breath. Slightly off, but not bad. Blind man would be glad to see it, as my dad would say. Let's give that another press. Let's bring it round again. Back to the beginning. Now this is where our little stamping spots really come into their own. I keep intending to do a little stamping spot in each colour, but we are getting some little packs of stamping spots coming in the new catalogue. It won't be all colours, but we are going to get quite a nice little sort of almost like starter range of colours, which hopefully might lead on to more being available. I do have a little collection of stamping spots that I've collected from kits and things. Of course, the demonstrators in America, where they have paper pumpkin, they tend to have a lot more. Right, so last but not least, in theory we should have a gap of 2 to fill in here. So let's go to our second space. and move it along one. Well, considering I had no idea, apart from my very quick maths session before we started, I don't think that's bad. Look at that. So we have a nice tiled frame. I don't think I'd have been able to do it by eye as precisely as that. So thank you, Stamparatus. We have a lot of ink on there. Let me just, it's pulled. Let's do it off and then I'll give it a final rub with this. Hi Sarah. So there we are. So that started off as I'd worked out when I did a little bit of maths. I'd worked out that on a 10 centimetre square, you'd literally get 4. Would be that 4 just there. It's a 10 centimetre square. But then we wanted sort of a bit of a border around the edge, which is why we then made it 11 and brought it in 0.5 centimetre each way. So not bad going. So as I say, it's a little bit off. It's not quite 100% even, but you'd have to look really close, I think, for it to jump out at you that it wasn't. So that's quite a nice little tiled background. As I say, and that card is we made that 11 centimetres. So in terms of a card base, I think we really need sort of like a 5-inch square card base will be the best sizings for that. So again, they're lovely, aren't they, these stamps? Just move my Stamparatus to one side. Let's bring in a piece of thick extra white, whisper white, and let's cut that at 5 inches wide. And I'm only doing inches because card bases tend to be classified in square ones anyway. Still here in inches mainly, although quite often they are cut in metric. So I'm going to cut that 5 inches wide, 10 inches long, score it at 5 inches. Not the most economic use of your cardstock. It may be that you have card bases already in that you've already bought, but you do get wastage on your cardstock when you make square cards, but they are nice for a bit of a change. So then I think we'll take a piece of Pretty Peacock and we'll cut that to, so this in inches is, it's just under 4.5. Let's make this 4 3/4 inches, and then that will give us a bit of a border all the way around. Nearest in metric would have probably have been to cut it to 12.5 centimetres. Your card base. And then about 12 for your Pretty Peacock. But look at that, that's quite nice, isn't it? So we've got a lovely base now for our card. Oh, thank you. It's looking chipped already. I so rarely do make up everything else, but just a couple of times I've sat and painted my nails. I think just to make myself feel a bit better, really. Wouldn't normally do it. There you go. Right, what shall we have on our base just here? Now I'm wondering, now it looks to me like we could position that so that this bit of foliage just here is coming up in the middle of those tiles on that side. So let's do this on our Stamparatus as well, so that if for any reason we're not happy with how well it inks the first time, we can go in a second. So let's hold that there. And the nice thing about doing this, we haven't inked this stamp up yet, we can have a good old play with it, really decide where we want it to be. So I'm sort of looking on the bottom here, and I've got that foliage sort of equidistant on the bottom here from the tiles. So this one is coming over in between those two tiles just there. I'll take it up just a smidge. So about there, I think. So now let's pick that stamp up. We're happy with our positioning. We're happy with where everything is. Everything is going to stay where it is, and I'm going to bring in some memento because I think we'll bring in some stamping blends to colour in. So ink that up. Give that a good press. Going to ink it again. That's better. Nice strong colour there. And the other thing we'll do, while we've got all of this set up and it's not moving anywhere, I'm going to swing that round. And then in here we have a few little greetings. I'm going to take hello. I think hello. Is it me you're looking for? And again, we'll line that up where we want it to go. Sticking to my finger. I think it's where it's so useful to have a stamp positioning tool for these sorts of things. Let's give that another push just to make sure that that's nice and dark. Excellent. Now to decide what colour stamping blends I want. I might grab some of the in colours. And add in I might add in some Mango Melody. And possibly a green of some sort. So let's have a look. Let's have a look. I've got a selection just there. Bring my chair in. So I think We've got these sort of heart-shaped, big, almost heart-shaped leaves here. So let's do some of those with this old olive. Do a few with the dark and then go in and blend that out with the light. Oh, quite. The crow is having his say. These are sort of like, almost like ivy leaves. Somebody's being incredibly vocal this morning. Got a lot to say for themselves. We normally just got the pretty tweeting birds in the background. I think that one's not quite such a pretty bird song. But he obviously wants to make himself known. I'm sure his mummy loves him. I'll come around here with these leaves. Now this one in the middle looks like sort of an ornamental cabbage type. I think what I'm going to do with that one, I'm going to do got some Rococo Rose here. Do some dark Rococo Rose, just sort of around the tips. We'll come in with a bit of light Rococo Rose and add some of that in. And I'm going to come in with the light old olive and sort of add in some green as well. So we've got like green with pink ends. I think we'll have, I'm sure this we'll have some mango melody. I'm sure they're probably more likely to be brown, sort of reeds, but we'll have what colour we fancy, won't we? We'll have mango melody ones. There's a leaf popping up just there. I'm going to take the light Pretty Peacock and I'm going to add some light Pretty Peacock to these fronds on this leaf just here. And this one. And then what have we got? We've got some purple posy. Let's add in some purple posy, sort of berries. There we go. Now we have got just thinking about ribbon. We have got this sort of old olive Pretty Peacock ribbon. Got this one as well. Thinking what I might do is take a bit of this and we'll cut off this trim. There we go, down that edge just there, and then we'll tie that into a bit of a scrappy bow. Let's bring it a bit smaller, I think. Right, slope of water. So, new catalogue, Div. So Div's asking date for the new catalogue. New catalogue launches on the 3rd of June, which is next week. And it's my intention, should have had in with your catalogue, and I'll be promoting it a bit more this week. We're having an all-day sort of live launch event. So next Wednesday, I should be popping on and off all day, doing different demonstrations and pointing things out and helping us all to get to know the new catalogue. Should be able to share it then. Be able to share the inside, be able to put out some of the videos and things that have been created. That'll all be able to happen on the 3rd. So yeah, next Wednesday is when you can start ordering from that new catalogue. Here it comes. This is going to blob at some point because I think it's got a bit of a blockage. So let's sit that on there. And that on there. Bring in glue dot. Then I've actually got a few of these Noble Peacock rhinestones left. They are retiring, but obviously if you want a particular colour of rhinestone and you haven't got them, but you've got the stamping white marker, you can just use those to colour rhinestones, ribbon, wooden embellishments. All of those sorts of things can be coloured with your blends. Oh, it's a week tomorrow, Div. Week tomorrow. So So what you need to do in the time between now, so if you are, you know, I've still got a week more on my catalogue, what you need to do is you need to have written your original wish list, and then you have to break your wish list down into things I want and things I really, really want. And then you have to take your really, really want list and you have to break that down into the things I cannot live without for another single minute. And that is your initial order that you put in off of that. And that will change because you will think that you've got it sorted in your head what you want, and then you'll see something that somebody creates and you think, oh, now I'm going to need that as well. Hey ho. But as I say, that is next week. And if you do have a very, very long list, there is also going to be a promotion, either if you host a party. So starting next week, there is going to be a promotion if you host a party. And there is also going to be a promotion if you join up. So that's all things to look forward to, all things to bear in mind. So if you get your starter kit, there's going to be a promotion as well. So all things to look forward to in the next few days. And as I say, there'll be more details coming. Right, so we've used our Stamparatus to create that lovely border. And then we've coloured in those flowers, added in a bit of a bow. That ribbon is carrying over, so that's not one that's going out of circulation. We've added in some of those noble peacock rhinestones, but we could equally have just coloured in some clear rhinestones with our marker. So there is one little card. Right, what shall we do for our other little card? What time are we? We've got time for another card, haven't we? So, decisions. Well, we'll go with the other set of flowers for now, just because we've used one. Let's use the other. And let me... Oh. That one, I think. Now, what colour card base shall we go with? Shall we stick? I have got a Pretty Peacock card base here. Shall we stick with Pretty Peacock since we've got those colours out and about? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a Whisper White mat to sit on the top of that. That is 14.4 by 10. And let's cut another one of these at 10 while we're in it, while we're there, because we should want one for inside our card as well. So let's have a little look at what embossing folders we could play with. Let's go with this Parisian Flourish, I think. So I'm going to run that piece of white card through the Parisian Flourish embossing folder. Let's centre that pattern up a little bit. It's a really pretty folder. And this one is carrying over. Let me just find my blue plate. Now for one of those of you that have already got your catalogues, what you might have noticed is in your new catalogue you have got details of 2 new die cutting machines. So there is one sort of standard size, much as we're used to with our Big Shot, that sort of size plate on it, and then there is a mini one. Those ones aren't going to be available at the point at which the catalogue goes live. We haven't yet got a date for those, but they are not going to be far behind. But what they didn't want to do is not put them in the catalogue and then there's have to have extra bits and paper and all of those sorts of things. So they're in there. We can't get them initially, but that's good. That means that we can spend our initial pennies on other things and then save up for a machine if that's something that you've got your eye on. And those machines are going to come with all the different plates and things you're going to need initially, but then you're going to be able to get optional magnetic plates and all sorts of things. So very exciting. Looking forward to that. Right, so I have embossed that. Now I'm taking a sponge and some Pretty Peacock ink, and I'm just going over the top. And picking out that embossing, and as always with sponging, going quite lightly. You can always go back and add more. What you can't do very easily is go in and take it off. Might come in a bit dark around these edges. Sponge all the way around those edges and frame that. So we have that beautiful embossed, sponged, picked out, highlighted card front. Embossing folders are always good for adding just a little bit of something. We're going to cut an oval out of this card, Whisper White card. So just have an oval of Whisper White card. And then I also want, I'm also going to cut this scalloped oval out of some Pretty Peacock card. And I did have a piece somewhere just there. So let's cut those. So some of the ladies that I've had to post the catalogues to won't have had them yet, probably. They will be due. Well, it just depends on your postman, really. I posted some bits out last week, second class. Some people got them within 2 days. Other people, it was nearly a week. So it really just depends on where you are, I suspect, and how busy your postman is. So there we have now a nice frame. So let's take our jug and so I'm just thinking what colour. Memento. We're going to bring this jug right down the bottom there. Right, looking around for my stamping mat, can't see it. We'll keep our fingers crossed. Yeah, that's fine. And then we'll take our flower. I think we'll go a slightly bigger block. Now obviously these are photopolymer stamps, we can see through them. So all being well, we'll be able to line that up with the top of our jug. Not a bad shot. Okay, then also in this stamp set we have this little sort of oval, it's like a label that we could add in on the front of our jug. We could go on the front of our urn, but on this occasion we'll have it on our jug. And then these nice little words, stamps, we'll tuck quite nicely in that label. Enjoy. Okay. So let's stick with the colours that we've got out. What have I just sat on? Oh, I've just found the stamping mat. I've just sat on it. Let me think. I'm going to take the light purple posy. These are actually like cotton buds just here. So we'll have them as purple posy cotton buds. I know when this first came out, this stamp set, there was lots of pictures of demonstrators elsewhere in the world with cotton buds in vases. That's not something that we find just here in the UK. So not something we can pop out and pop into our vase. There's leaves just here. Let's add some dark old olive to those and come in with some light old olive. There we go. And there's a few more just here. We have these little flowers just here. Let's do those in some Mango Melody. I'm going to go with the idea that these ones are the same. Let's colour those in the same. Let's add a bit of green to this bit just here. I think we'll come in with some let's have some Rococo Rose for these. They definitely wouldn't be Rococo Rose, but they are now because we've made them so. Because we can. And then I think we'll come in with some Pretty Peacock just here with these little blobs to bring that colour back in. Now I am going to fetch in another colour for that jug. Actually, I might go something like soft sea foam might be quite nice. It wants to be something sort of almost vintagey. You've got this sort of idea of sort of almost like a metallic jug that's you've had some rust spots or something on it, a bit tarnished. Let's come in with the light soft sea foam. That's a nice squeaky pen. And we'll blend that all out. Then I think we'll take the light soft sea spray, and I'm just going to come round. Ooh, just spotted another leaf. I think those are probably 2 more leaves in there. Looks like rather an odd looking gap, so it obviously wasn't just intended to be a gap. I'm going to come round the edge with our soft sea sage spray. Just take it round the edge of the flowers. Just to give a bit of a background. And our purple posy cotton buds, cotton don't know, what are they? Cotton balls, cotton spray. Yeah, let's come all the way around here. We are getting, I think, 4 new colours of stamping blends. So of the new ink colours, we are getting 4 new ones. And then we're also getting Melon Mambo. Which I'm sure we'll be glad to see, because we'll have lost lovely lipstick, so that will give us another pink. I'm just going to, so what I'm going to do while I've got this light seaside spray, I'm just going to go round the edge of that label just to help that pop a little bit, and then I will take light grey granite, I think. Hi Karen. And we'll add in something for our jug to be sitting on. So there we go. So, that might be a bit too green, although we've used the old olive as well as the might go a little bit more rustic, might take the braided linen thread. Yep, I think that's the one. That's that. We're going to add in some of that, and then we just need one of the greetings. What shall we have? Got enjoy in the middle of there. It may be that we need to go to something else. I may come back to this set that we used yesterday. We used this Out of the Field of Flowers, and this is the set that coordinates with this sort of multi-punch. So that's one of the bundles in the new catalogue, is you get the Field of Flowers and then you get that that punch just there. So it may be that we enjoy. I'm going to have enjoy, and then I'm going to put thinking of you on there, I think. So let's take a piece of Whisper White cardstock and let's cut that. So with this punch, you've got the options of 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch, or an inch. It's probably best just to cut it a smidge, just the tiniest hairbreadth shorter than that, just so that you get it resting nicely in the gap. So there is our 1/2 inch piece of Whisper White. So we're going to take a 3/4 of an inch again, just a wisp shorter, just to make sure we can get it nice and evenly in the slot. And do we want curly or do we want, so one gives you a sort of scalloped end with sort of a curlier end, and this one is more tabbed, sort of a flatter end. I think because we've got the curls in the embossing folder and because we've got the scalloped circle, I think we really want to go scalloped end. So can you see, so that this one here is going to fit in that bottom groove, so we'll push that right in and stamp it, and that gives us like a one bobble. This one, you want it to make sure that it goes right to the end and that it's nice and flat. We've got 2 bobbles. Then we need to stamp our greeting, and we decided on thinking of you. I think we'll do it in black. We could go Pretty Peacock, but I think we'll stick with black. Let's get our little... Did I say good morning, Jane? If I didn't say good morning, I thought it, if that's any consolation. The brain is well and truly addled now. Who knows? Who knows what I'm doing anymore? Right. Thinking of you. Oh, that's a little bit on the wonky side. We'll see what it looks like when we've finished. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this about like that. I'm going to put that back in there, and I'm going to swing it round, because with a shorter piece like this, you do want to make sure, and also I've hand cut that end, you want to make sure here that you're happy that that's sitting straight. That's not bad. Thinking of you. And then this one. Again, we'll snip it off out there. Maybe that we're not happy with the length of that, but we'll see how that goes. Again, we'll make sure that we're happy that that is centered. Are we happy with the length? I think that's pretty good. It actually doesn't look quite so wonky now that that's in there. So let's start sticking this one together. So we have our very bobbly, deep embossed Frisian folder. Is a 3D embossing folder, so it's a deep emboss on that. Almost reminds me of anaglyptal wallpaper. Then we'll add our stamped and coloured jug of beautifulness. Certainly not necessarily the colours you'd find in nature, but they're the colours you find in the craft room. Let's take a couple of bits of tear and tape. Gotcha. That'll do. That'll do, pig. Right. And we will bring this across the back here. In a swirl. Chop that off. And we'll put that up on some dimensionals. I somehow managed to turn my trolley round, so it's my instinct to go to one end for things like my dimensionals and the other end for my scissors. I somehow managed to have swapped it over. Not helpful. Bottom, and then let's tuck one in the middle there to hold it up in the middle. Take the backs off those. Let's stick this on here. I'll put that down the bottom there. My hair is getting so long now. While I'm out of the shower and it's still wet, it's fine, but as it dries, it sort of is flopping down into my face. Go away. There we go. Let's take some pearls this time, and our, oh, my tummy's rumbling. Now, there was a word for that. One of the words I posted the other day. Now, I've got a feeling it was something like womble or wamble or something like that. I'm going to colour my pearls in with my Pretty Peacock. This is the dark blend. That's a nice colour, isn't it? I'll have 3 of those. There. One up here. Oh, my tummy is really rumbling. And one just there, I think. Okay, so there we go. A couple of cards. We've used Pretty Peacock and those same colours for both cards. So this one we used our Stamparatus to create this tiled frame around the outside. And we also used our Stamparatus to line up our image in the middle and our greeting before colouring it in and adding in a few rhinestones and just the trim of the edge of that ribbon. And then this one we've done some embossing with the Parisian is it Parisian Flourish embossing folder. It's round, I can't see it, it has got the name on it. If I could see it, Parisian Flourish, yep, the Parisian Flourish 3D embossing folder that we then inked and sponged before colouring in our jug with its foliage pieces and adding in a greeting from that Field of Flowers stamp set, and use the coordinating punch, pick a label punch to create our greeting on the bottom, and coloured in a few pearls. So a couple of cards using the Country Home stamp set, which is another one that's carrying over some of our blends, and just a bit of a different look. So thank you once again for joining me today. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, and see what we're going to play with tomorrow. So have fun browsing those new catalogues and making up your wish lists ready for next week.